Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I am Rockin Robbie Billups, and it is time for the weekly comic book review. That's right, everyone. Welcome to the weekly comic book review. It's the show where I read a lot of comic books, and I let you know what I thought about them, and we always start with the pick of the week. And this week's pick of the week is very surprising to me. It's Magnus #1 from Dynamite Entertainment. I really don't read a lot of Dynamite books. They typically just don't really fulfill anything for me. I don't really like a lot of the properties that they have. I don't really like just a lot of their books. I don't really like the way that they're executed. I'm not a big fan of the company. So I decided I'd check this out. It's a new #1, whatever. So it's a reimagining of Magnus, Robot Fighter, the old Gold Key comic and whatnot. And I think Valiant had it for a while, and even Dark Horse maybe. So I am familiar with the property, but not super familiar, but it's reimagined now. It's now a woman instead of a dude, and that's kind of cool and nifty. And I don't really know how much of what's in here comes directly from the original Magnus, but this stuff blew me away. It was awesome. I flipped through it at first. First thing I noticed, Jorge Fornes. Amazingly cool noirish type artwork. Very simple, not what I was expecting for this. Kyle Higgins crafts a really cool and dense story that has a lot of nifty like world building type stuff in here. I love science fiction, and sometimes that sci-fi itch doesn't really get scratched the best way, super fulfilling or anything like that, but Magnus did it. I loved everything about this. So Magnus is now a robot psychologist, so this is a world where artificial intelligence, everybody has like their own butler, basically, their own robot butler, and one of them goes crazy and just kills the family that he is supposed to work for, and it has a very chilling and effective opening, and I loved this so much. So they all exist in this cloud where they can upload themselves into this cloud for 4 hours a day and live out a life, but then they come back and there's lots of depression going on with the artificial intelligences. And Magnus is a bounty hunter that goes after robots and AI. And she's also a robot psychologist. But this book was awesome. It was super cool. It's a little verbose, a little exposition-y. That's its only fault. I love the artwork. I love the tone, the somber mood that this book has. It's really cool. And it's just one issue in. And maybe it's just the surprise that I was not expecting to like this at all, and I loved it so much. Maybe that's why it's the pick of the week. But it's got, like, it's trying to have the feel and the tone of Blade Runner or Philip K. Dick, like some of his actual novels and short stories and whatnot. Seriously, Magnus is definitely worth checking out, and maybe I'll go back and check out the Sovereigns, because Dynamite's doing this whole thing right now with Turok and Magnus and a bunch of those other properties that they have now. So I'll check out Sovereigns, and I might check out some of the other things. I know there's a Turok book coming out, but Magnus is awesome. I highly encourage you to check it out, guys. Absolutely. Let's go over to Marvel for a little bit here. Star Wars Darth Vader #1. It's a new Star Wars Darth Vader ongoing series, this time written by Charles Soule. He's got big shoes to fill because Karen Gillan's run with Salvador Larroca, which wrapped up about a year ago or so, was amazing. It was actually really good and a great character study of Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader. This is more about how Darth Vader becomes Darth Vader. And specifically, in this first story arc, how he got his lightsaber, the red lightsaber. And there's some neat stuff in here about the red lightsaber, and I don't know how canon that was back in the day, or if this is something new, but it's interesting, and a little interesting bit into the Star Wars mythology, I think. So this picks up directly at the exact end of Episode 3, like the very last moment, Episode 3, that you see Darth Vader. That's where this picks up from. And it continues on, and that's neat, and it's cool, and it's serviceable, and it's all right. It's a decent comic. It's fun. It's a chapter in the Star Wars saga that a lot of people are really going to want to check out and read. So I highly encourage you to check it out, especially if you're a Star Wars fan, you're a Darth Vader fan, definitely going to want to check it out. It's not going to change your life, but it is neat, and it is cool, and it's got tons of the Emperor in there, and I love that. So rock on. Iceman #1 debuted from Marvel. You know, they've been doing this resurrection thing with all these new Inhumans and especially XMen titles, and overall I think they've been pretty good. It's odd that Iceman gets singled out for a solo title. That's a little odd. I don't think Iceman really can carry his own solo title, so I don't know how long this will last, but it was enjoyable. It was all right. It was a good light read. It was neat. It's nice. It's the older Bobby Drake. It's the older Iceman, not the younger one, but it's neat. It's a nice little slice of life type thing. Nothing really super grippy about this. Not really a good hook that wants me to come back and check out more. The artwork is rough, but it's manageable, it's doable, it's pretty good. It's a solid book. It's just, I don't know. Iceman, I don't think he's going to be able to carry his own book, but it is cool to see this character fleshed out more, especially since, recently he's come out as gay, and it's cool to flesh that bit out of the character a little bit more. So that's really, really cool. Amazing Spider-Man number 28 came out this week. It wraps up the Osborn identity story. I actually really like the finale of this story. I thought it was really, really cool. Spider-Man's been a good, fun, overall superhero action book, in my opinion, at least especially this volume, since they started again this whole worldwide thing, right? And this Osborn story is okay. I'm much more of a fan of the Green Goblin versus Norman Osborn, I guess, or I like it when Norman's more like the Green Goblin. But this has a really cool ending. It was a really cool, fun, solid finale to the Osborn identity. Lots of cool setup for some future storylines. That's really nifty. But I've been loving, for the most part, what Dan Slott's been doing on this book, especially since the relaunch and the worldwide stuff. I've been loving it. I don't really like what they did with Ben Reilly, but I love what they do with Peter Parker, and this is straight up just a brawl in here between Peter and Norman, and we've seen that plenty of times before, and it goes much like it always does, but that's the fun of it, right? So Spider-Man's been super enjoyable to me. I'll just say that. Secret Empire Brave New World. This is going to be a mini-series. It's going to have ongoing stories, like the Namor story, I think, is an ongoing story with the Invaders, with the original Human Torch and Toro. There's a Gwenpool story in here that I did not read, I'll admit that. And the Giant Man story, that was pretty good. The Giant Man story was all right. The Namor story was okay. Nothing super, super major. You're not going to get anything from Secret Empire that you won't get in the main title from this, unless you're just super, super crazy to know like what's going on with Namor or whatnot, or you're a huge Giant Man fan, or just a super huge fan of Gwenpool. That's why you should pick up this book, or if you just got to have every single Secret Empire book, but this doesn't really have too much of a tie-in to really what's going on in the main Secret Empire story. Maybe it will in the future because of the Atlantis thing and the shard of the Cosmic Cube that they may be holding, whatever, but there you go. And Namor fans, definitely check it out. I know Namor fans, we haven't had them for a while. So if you're a Namor fan, read that. Black Bolt number 2 came out this week. This book is amazing, written by Saladin Ahmed with artwork by Christian Ward. The artwork in this book is just gorgeous, highly just magnificent, fantastical, brilliant colors, luscious. This artwork is amazing. I really liked it. It's kind of an all right story. The story is good, and it really, the fact that Black Bolt, who is a former king, is now trapped in a prison, and it's pretty messed up, and it's really cool, and it's a cool exploration of prison and what it would even be like for someone who used to be a king to be in there. Absorbing Man's in here, a few other cool little faces. There's a Skrull character that's introduced in here that's amazing. Really fun book, and I'm loving it. The artwork is amazing. It's cool, it's trippy, it's psychedelic. It's just such a fresh, neat, fun book. I love this Black Bolt. Speaking of fresh and fun, the Wasp, Unstoppable she is. The Unstoppable Wasp number 6 comes out this week. I adore this book. I think it's amazing. Nadia Pym is one of my favorite new characters at Marvel. I love this book. It just gets better and better and better. And now the crew, the supporting cast for Nadia, has come together, and I just love them. I adore them. They're amazing. They're great characters. They're girls, so they're like the most brilliant scientific minds that happen to be women in the Marvel Universe. And it's just such a cool book. It's super, super fun, and it gets deep without getting depressing. I've said this before, Nadia Pym, the new Wasp, is a character that could easily by anybody else be handled in a very just sad, melancholy, cliche type way, and Nadia's positive outlook despite all of the circumstances of her past, it just uplifts me, makes this book super light, super fun, yet rich with meaning and complexity all at the same time. I highly encourage you to check out this book because I don't think it sells too well. Who knows how long it has to be out there. I know the artist is leaving very, very soon. Jeremy Whitley, the writer, is staying on. But read this book. The Unstoppable Wasp is awesome. It's super fun, guys. You definitely got to check it out. X-Men Gold number 5. Don't mess with the X-Men. I'm not really liking this book that much. It's all right. It's okay. I think this is the weakest of all the X-Men books right now. I think the Iceman book is better than this. I think Jean Grey is better than this. Cable, even though it just felt like a half issue for #1, was better than this. I'm just not feeling X-Men Gold, and I want to, because these are the characters that I want to enjoy their book. Nightcrawler, Colossus, Old Man Logan, Shadowcat, Storm. These are the characters that we've been missing. Rachel Gray even, she's a great character too. I don't know about her new name. Was it Prestige? Yeah, that's a little weird, but you can't have too many Phoenixes around, right? But this book is all right. The stuff they're doing with the Sentinels is neat and it's intriguing, but I just think it's sloppy artwork. It's a cliche, rushed story. It just doesn't feel like any kind of And seriously, Gambit was one of the best things in this book. So there you go. All new Guardians of the Galaxy #3. Fraser Irving does the artwork in here, and that stuff was really, really cool. Otherwise, this story is really confusing and out of nowhere. And I really want to follow the Guardians of the Galaxy. I really want to get into it and like it a whole lot more and get over just the oversaturation of it, especially because that last movie was so good, guys, right? But man, this book has completely lost me. Every single issue, and I just don't know if I can keep on. I almost didn't want to pick this one up, but Fraser Irving did the artwork, so of course I checked it out, and I'm like, yeah, I'm really confused, but I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of Jerry Dugan's other comic book work that I've read of his, so All New Guardians of the Galaxy #3 might be the final one I read. Hawkeye #7, though, will not be the final issue of this I read because I love this book. Kate Bishop is just soars in her own solo title. This book has been amazing. Written by Kelly Thompson with artwork by Leonardo Romero. Fantastic stuff like 40s, Southern California detective type stories. I don't know, but with a very modern feel to it. I love it. Love this book. Love how they tell the stories. Love how it's paced out. This has got a really cool bait and switch type thing where it has an ending that kind of comes out of nowhere, even though you're expecting a twist at the end. It's not the twist you're expecting, but it's a highly intriguing twist. So read Hawkeye. Kate Bishop stuff's been really, really good. Nova #7 is the final issue of Nova. The only Nova book that has kept me interested throughout its duration, and it only lasts 7 issues. So Sam Alexander's a great character, and I do like that character a lot. And of course, Richard Rider's a great character as well. Who shouldn't like Nova? But the book always starts off good and falls flat. This book has been amazing the whole way through. Jeff Loveness, Ramon Perez. Thank you guys so much. You did a hellaciously awesome job on this book. Seriously, thank you. I'm so sad to see it go, but it was a great story. This is a great finale that wraps everything up in a nice little bow and sets it up for future stories to come with new creators or even the same creators. That would be so cool. But a new Nova book by the same team would be amazing because this book has been high energy, dynamic, super fun, and flamboyantly, fantastically amazing. So there you go. Let's move on to some DC books because we got the last issue of Dark Knight 3, The Master Race, #9. It's finally here, the long-awaited conclusion. So, Dark Knight Returns, a classic of the genre, as people would say. Dark Knight Strikes Again, I think it's a misunderstood, almost masterpiece. I think that it has a very sloppy ending, but the first issue of Dark Knight Strikes Again is badass. I'm serious. I'm just going to say that. How does DK3 stack up? DK3 actually stack up. It's a pretty decent book. Aside from the gaudy colors that were on Batgirl's costume, but now they fixed that, and I don't want to give anything away, but I thought it had a cool, solid ending. I think the story's been cool, and I actually like it. I actually like it. The mini comic that's inside has usually been trash, but the mini comic in this one, and it's drawn by Frank Miller, some of the best artwork of from him in years. It was really good, and I liked it. I liked it this whole issue. I thought it was a nice conclusion. When you put too much of an edge on Superman, sometimes I feel like you're not being too true to the character, and it does verge on that a little bit in this story with Superman, but I still liked it. I thought it was a good story overall. The way that it ends, it's obviously set up that they're going to continue doing stories in this world for as long as Miller, and then of course after Miller, DC will just let it keep going, I am sure. But this book was actually kind of fun. I did enjoy it overall. I thought it was satisfying. Is it as good as the first one? No, not at all. Is it as good as the first issue of Dark Knight Strikes Again? No. But it's a good, solid book all on its own, and that's how you should judge it. Seriously, I'm eager to sit down and read them all consecutively and see how it holds up as one whole, because it has come out over a while. But this was a good, satisfying ending, absolutely. Batman #24 comes out this week, and big news. I don't know if you've had it spoiled for you yet. on USA Today or whatever the news sites are, all over social media. I'm not going to spoil it here, but let's just say I think it's dumb. And this issue was dumb. I didn't like it. I haven't been liking Batman that much. I don't know. I'm really pumped to see what happens with the War of Jokes and Riddles, because I just really hope that starts talking a lot, like, at all about the Three Jokers thing, because they haven't talked about that at all. I mean, we've seen Dr. Manhattan's hand. We don't know anything about the Joker stuff, right? So I hope that the upcoming story arc reveals some stuff about this, but this whole Batman Catwoman thing that Tom King's doing, I just don't like it, man. It feels adolescent to me. It doesn't feel true to the character. I just don't think Tom King's got Batman down. I'm super excited for his work on Mr. Miracle. I think that's something, especially with his work on Vision, I think that's something that he could really do and do really, really well. But his Batman stuff's so weak to me. I don't like it. And I mean, you guys probably all know what I'm talking about, but that's so really, I don't know. As about as bad as some of the plot twists involving Bruce Wayne's love interest in any of the movies, basically. So there you go. Superman number 24 continues this Black Dawn story. He's not on this cover, so I guess I won't spoil who the big villain is, but it's awesome and you should care, especially if you've been reading Superman for a while. This book's been really, really fun, and I like the revelation that we've just recently had in the last issue, and this kind of explains it, expands it out just a little bit, harkens a lot back to a fan favorite Superman story that's considered one of the greatest of Superman comic books of all time. So you definitely check it out. Hint, it's Action Comics 775 by Joe Kelly. You should definitely check it out. And did Doug Mahnke do that one? Because he's on here. Anyway, this is a really fun book. Superman books have been great. Lots of stuff. It's got a great ending. Superboy. There's some really good stuff in Superman. I don't want to spoil anything because I don't know if you're caught up or whatever. But I encourage you to get caught up and read Superman. Superman is so, so good. Wonder Woman, Steve Trevor, number 1. So it's a one-shot because there was a Wonder Woman movie, and they're like, oh, people might like Steve Trevor, so let's give him a one-shot. And it's okay. It's not bad. It's a serviceable. Why am I saying serviceable so much tonight? But it's a decent book. It's all right. It mainly serves as, if you saw the Wonder Woman movie, basically her version of the Howling Commandos, Steve's buddies who run around with him, it basically introduces them into the DC universe. It's kind of like what this is a vehicle for. And so, I don't know, it was all right. If you're super hyped up because of Wonder Woman and all that stuff, definitely get it and check it out. If you're a big Steve Trevor fan, get it and check it out. Steve Trevor's awesome in that movie, by the way. Shay, the Changing Girl, number 9. This book is trippy and psychedelic and fun and weird and super cool. And even when I'm reading it, I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. It's appealing to me. There's something about it it draws me to it. I love it. Explanation on music and nostalgia and how it relates to humanity and our experience as humans. This stuff is crazy psychedelically deep. It's so crazy. This is like your super stoned uncle just says the craziest stuff sometimes. That's what this book is. But it's the super stoned out crazy uncle that you like having around every once in a while. Seriously, Shade the Changing Girl is a fun book, and that's a weird analogy, but definitely got to check that out. It's really good. Green Lanterns number 24. So Simon and Jessica especially are being retrained because Jessica never had her training. So they do this whole thing. She decked Guy Gardner. There's a big one-punch joke over and over and over. Yeah, we get it. Guy Gardner, Batman, one punch. Yeah, it's just... it get on and on and on, but the book is okay. It's got it's a really dumb scene in here between Simon Baz and Kyle Rayner where they're trying to outdo each other with their constructs, and it's just a little cheesy. But there's some really cool stuff going on with the crazy Guardian that's right now possessed by the First Lantern, and a really neat revelation about the first 7 Green Lantern rings ever created and where one of them is right now. Ooh, that's really cool and very exciting. So Green Lanterns is fun because Jessica and Simon, Sam Humphries, the writer, has done a fantastic job of fleshing these characters out and telling a story about overcoming fear and anxiety, and it's something that's very applicable for a Green Lantern book, absolutely. So let's get on to some of the independent titles, because there was a lot of independent titles this week, including Magnus number 1, which I just flipped out for. We got Babyteeth number 1 from Donny Cates, the writer and creator of God Country and Redneck. So he's a super hot writer right now, so you definitely got to pay attention to this. Babyteeth is all right. It's a pretty good, solid book. Donny Cates is a talent, and I'm glad this guy is coming out there and he's rising up, because God Country is amazing. But judging from God Country, from Redneck, and this is kind of like a Antichrist baby devil child apocalyptic type thing. Yeah, I get the sense, I don't know much about Mr. Cates, but I get the sense that he's from the South and was raised in a religious background, possibly. But I totally respond to a lot of the themes that he's talking about. But this book is actually pretty fun, from Aftershock Comics. If you like that kind of devil, antichrist, baby, Exorcist, bless this child type thing, definitely check it out. It's really interesting. It's got some really cool ways that they tell the story. It's got a great sequence when the artwork. If you read the book, you'll know where it is, because it goes mostly like, I mean, I'm thinking of a different book actually, but the book, no, yes, it goes that little bit right there. Yeah, that's a really cool bit. This is actually a really cool story, a good setup to see what's going to happen, man, because this book's actually pretty cool. So if you've been liking God Country or Redneck, been liking Cates' work, definitely recommend checking out Babyteeth if you can find it. The Unsound #1 from Boom Studios and writer Cullen Bunn, with artwork by Jack T. Cole. The artwork is actually really cool. It's a really neat, weird story about a nurse going to this mental hospital, and she's now working there. It's an understaffed, underfunded, highly too many people there, beyond capacitation. Is that the right way to say it? Anyway, it's actually a really cool book. It's very intriguing, and it's a horror comic, and it has a really neat, scary, creepy ending. And Cullen Bunn is good at horror comics sometimes. Harrow County comes to mind. So this is a really promising first issue, and if you're into horror comics, into like psychological type stuff, definitely think about checking out The Unsound from Boom Studios this week. This is the most ridiculous idea in comic books this week. Mighty Mouse #1 from Dynamite Comics. All right, so it's a Mighty Mouse comic. That sounds simple enough. Whatever. Mighty Mouse was awesome. I used to watch that show when I was a kid, the reruns. Here I come to save the day. Andy Kaufman, all that stuff, right? So, yeah, we'll check out a Mighty Mouse comic. But the idea of this story is about a kid who's obsessed with Mighty Mouse, a bullied kid who's obsessed with Mighty Mouse, and something happens and Mighty Mouse gets pulled out of the television and enters the real world. That's the craziest idea in comics this week, and it actually kind of works. It was actually a fun story, and look, that's an Alex Ross cover. An Alex Ross Mighty Mouse cover. So Comic King, there you go, Alex Ross doing Mighty Mouse. But the book was actually okay. It's not going to change your life. It's a silly concept, but I don't know. If you're a Mighty Mouse fan, I would highly encourage you to check that out. Brave Chef Brianna #4. This is the final issue. This story was amazing. The story about a young woman who's decided to go off on her own and open a restaurant serving human food in Monster City, in a city of monsters where it's actually against the law to serve non-monster food. It's against the law to serve human food. This book was fun. It was cute. It was adorable. It was awesome. This is an all-ages book that has lots of themes that would resonate for adults and children alike. I love it. This book was amazing. I highly recommend Brave Chef Brianna as a gift to anybody. If you want them to read, if you want their life to be enriched through the art of reading comic books, get them Brave Chef Brianna, especially when the graphic novel comes out. This book was awesome from Kaboom. They do some great stuff there. Image Comics released Injection #13. Warren Ellis is one of my favorite writers, period. And this book is losing me. I'm so confused. It's not losing me as in it's not good. It's losing me as in I have no clue what is even going on at this point anymore. I'm reading so many comics, and this is such a dense, complex type story that I forget what's even happening, or where the characters were left and what's going on. And whew, I need to sit down and reread some Injection. And the same thing is happening on this one. Paper Girls #15 releases this week from Brian K. Vaughan and Cliff Chang. I adore this book, and I read this, and it was cool, and it was satisfying, just like the Injection book was satisfying, but I was still going, man, I don't remember anything that's been going on in this book. So both of these books I need to catch up on, but this does wrap up the current story arc on Paper Girls, and it will not return until, October 4th. Big long break, but it's cool because this book is amazing and it gives us a chance to catch up. I highly encourage you, if you've been reading these books, to reread and take this hiatus in Paper Girls and a soon-to-come hiatus on Injection. Take that time to reread these books because you'll definitely get more out of them if you do that. And here's a cool little book from Infant Studios. Yeah, drawn in quarterly, actually. Yeah, that's cool. If found, please return to Elise Gravel. If you watched my free comic book day video, I was super impressed with one of the drawn in quarterly books because it had snippets from this. And Elise Gravel is an artist, and she has a notebook and she just draws stuff. And first of all, amazing presentation. It looks just like a notebook with a little bookmark and everything. But it's just the most random, cute, weird, funny little drawings. And the whole book is just drawings. And the weirdest, coolest stuff. Seriously, if you took my recommendation and you checked out the free comic book day issue and you really liked it, or if you're super intrigued, and check it out, look it up online. This book is awesome. I highly encourage you to get it. It's $17.95, but it's worth every penny. I'll throw a link down below if you want to get this book, because it's fun and it would make a great gift to a child, to your lover, to your parents, to your brothers and sisters, your uncles and aunts, anybody. Like, seriously, this book is adorable. You should definitely check it. You should definitely check it out. Definitely. So anyway, if found, please return to Elise Gravel. Injection and Paper Girls are amazing, but I got to get caught back up. Brave Chef Brianna was amazing. Mighty Mouse, you might want to check that out. Don't sleep on Babyteeth. I said it, John. I said it again. Steve Trevor, yeah, if you're that big of a fan. Batman, really, Tom King. It was satisfying. Dark Knight 3, Master Race, it was satisfying. Nova, thanks for the memories. Hawkeye's always good. Guardians of the Galaxy's losing me. Unstoppable Wasp is still unstoppable, at least for now. Black Bolt is dazzling and beautiful. Spiderman is fun. Iceman is okay, but is it necessary? Darth Vader, it may not be necessary, but it's kind of fun too. But Magnus, highly impressed with Magnus this week, guys. Check it out and let me know what you read and what you thought down below in the comments. Love talking to you guys about comic books in the comments down below. So let me know what you read and what you thought about it. Please do share this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. We appreciate everything. Please do like, give us that thumbs up, and check us out on Patreon and Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We also have a podcast. All of that and more can be found at popculturephilosophers.com. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and a big shout out to David Hatch, a Patreon supporter, our first one, and you get one shout out in a video per month, and this is the warm up. I'll give you a nice fuller one even later, just as an extra thank you, David Hatch. Thank you so much. You rock. I appreciate it. David, let me know, what'd you read? What have you been reading? And what are you liking? Thank you guys so much for checking out the video. Thanks for rocking with us. Keep on reading.